Last night in Miami, Marlins and Brewers, a quiet night until Mark Reynolds blasted two. Chris Davis clobbered one. Then Giancarlo got to work. Two tape measure shots. And Garrett Jones hit two. It was carnage and a Brewers win. With that in mind, Jacob Turner tries to restore order. And Miami looks to even the series with Milwaukee. And on a Saturday afternoon in Miami, come on into Marlins Park. Tonight, unlike last night, roof is closed, rolling windows closed. For Game 2, first place Brewers at 29-20. The Fish a game over 500. It is Cuban Heritage Night here at the ballpark. And a nice crowd is expected. Even Billy's got the cap going. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Yes, the home runs were fun. Everybody loves the long ball, 7 of them. But for the Brewers, important, it's a win. They are a first-place team, and they're playing like it. For the Marlins, you don't often hit that many homers and lose.
Well, the Marlins hit 4 home runs last night. The only other time in their history at home when they've homered 4 times and lost was back in 1998.
It was fun to watch, though, Giancarlo get into a couple of them. Stanton continues his onslaught, not only on the opponent, but on the National League. His numbers are terrific. And last night he was big.
It is fun to watch. The setup outside by Lucroy on that photo on the left. Look at the video. And look at both tapes. The ball is right down the middle. Stanton is right there. His balance. Look at how he releases with a breath. His extension is perfect. The lower half, he's getting everything into the swings. Giancarlo, he has hit 4 home runs in this ballpark that are 440 or more. How about this? 14 home runs leading the National League. Giancarlo has totaled almost 6,000 feet worth of home runs. 5 of his home runs, 440 or more. And his average distance, almost 428. So he's a lot of fun to watch. On the other hand, Mark Reynolds went deep a couple of times. And Chris Davis hit the longest home run last night in the game.
So how do you think the starting pitcher slept last night after watching? And Jacob Turner gets the start. He's overdue for a win.
Restlessly is probably how they slept. But Jacob Turner has tantalized. He's had moments where he's thrown the ball well, even in the game in San Francisco. But then you look at the overall numbers, and it just doesn't look like the Jacob Turner he would like to be. He's 23 years old now. He would like to stay consistent from that first inning through at least the 6th or 7th. Hopefully he can do that, and it's been a while since he's won a game.
And it's Willie Peralta who goes for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's not a household name, but he's having a really nice season.
He really is. Look at his numbers, 4-3, a nice 2.18 ERA. Now, he's a fastball slider guy who has a changeup as his 3rd pitch. He may use that a little bit more after seeing the changeups last night.
Yeah, the Marlins struggled against that pitch last night. But not Garrett Jones, who's having a terrific May and a great homestand. And the big lefty, we examine that next. tonight against the first-place Brewers. Let's go to center field. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson.
All right, thank you very much, Rich and Tommy. You guys covered the homers by Stanton. What about the other guys who had 2 homers in the game last night, figuring Mark Reynolds for the first time as a Brewer and 20th time in his career. He went deep 2 times in one game.
Garrett Jones, big night last night. Oh, you're talking about power hitters who are premier power hitters.
Yeah.
But Mark Reynolds over the past couple years kind of been compared to Rob Deere, Dave Kingman type.
Yep.
But when you see these pitches, they end up in the middle, and he shows that when you make a mistake to him, it's going to end up as a souvenir.
Good road trip. He had a grand slam at Atlanta on Wednesday for Reynolds. And when he gives it a load, you've seen him with Arizona, he can really send it a long way and be a big factor. Strikes out a lot, but he's got that big long ball bat. Garrett Jones has been outstanding after a little bit of a slow start first couple of weeks. He's showing the Marlins some left-handed power that we haven't seen here in Miami. Saltalamacchia and Jones.
He's given them everything they thought they would get. He's given them power. He's given them a good guy, steady guy at first base, plays a really good first base, and the potential to do this. 2 home runs in a game, and against right-handers, he's been doing well, hitting over 300. He's hitting over 300 at home, so it's a good mix. 484, second in the National League in the last 10 days, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and that OPS is incredible.
Big factor for the Marlins, and as you saw, even in a game when they give up 9 runs, they battle back, and because you have some home run power, you're never out of it, and that's something new for the club this year than at least in some recent years. All right, we've got baseball coming up. We'll see if the ball is jumping today. The roof is closed, rolling windows closed for the middle game of the series. Pair of righties, Willie Peralta and Jacob Turner. We'll see you on the post game.
Let's go places by AT&T U-verse TV. Check availability. 1-800-PICK AT&T. Rethink possible. By Checkers. Visit your local Checkers for the $2 shrimp and fries box. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. In Miami tonight, ready for baseball. Brewers and Marlins. As the fish get ready to go, you can see the roof is shut, the rolling windows shut. Pitch a penny ready to bring you the first pitch. Marlins need a nice start from Jacob Turner against a very good offensive team. A tapper up to foul from Gene Segura. He started the onslaught last night with a couple of hits and a stolen base. And Turner making start number 6 on the season.
And as we saw a lot of last night, Rich, a lot of first ball swinging, so you can't just lay up that first pitch. You better make sure it's a good one.
Brewers are very good swinging early in the count. Turner not so good. He's been hurt early in counts this year. And his overall numbers, an ERA of 6.5. Fastball that runs in on Segura. Segura, the young shortstop for the Brewers. The Brewers got Segura from the Angels for about 2 months of Zach Greinke, before Greinke went on to sign the big contract with the Dodgers. And Segura had an all-star season last year. There's a strike. 2-2. He was a hit machine last year, was Segura. The .294. 20 doubles, 10 triples, swiped 44 bases. Knocks it into left field. Yelich on his way into the gap, makes the catch. All right, let's meet the Brewers. A familiar face is back in the lineup. And it's brought to you by JM Lexus. Ryan Braun is actually hitting second. Jonathan Lucroy behind him. Carlos Gomez in the cleanup spot. Mark Reynolds at third. Scooter Gennett at second. Chris Davis in left. Lyle Overbay at first, and Willie Peralta will do the pitching. Smattering of boos as Ryan Braun steps in. Not something he's unaccustomed to after the suspension last year. Fastball for a strike. He missed a lot of games last year. He had an injury. Had a 15-day DL with a right thumb contusion, then the Major League drug suspension of 65 games. Playing with a sore right side and kind of a half swing into right field.
Well, it's swings like that are the reason he's batting at that number 2 spot. You and I had a chance to talk to Ron Renick, his manager, and he wanted to get him in that number 2 spot because he's not driving the ball. Take a look at the defense for the Marlins behind Jacob Turner. There's Yelich and Ozuna and Stanton. You have McGee and Echeverria on the left side, Dietrich and Jones over on the right side. Salta Lamacchia behind the plate. I would imagine Sunday, the afternoon game, we'll see some changes.
Jonathan Lucroy, and all of his numbers have been outstanding. He takes a fastball for a strike. Lucroy, really his 4th full year in the major leagues. Had a solid year last year, but this year it's all-star caliber. 17 doubles. His on-base percentage at .398. Tommy, he's slugging .464. And the average, I guess the average slugging percentage across all of Major League Baseball is .393. So if you're north of that, especially for a catcher, to be that far north of that is special. Into right, Stanton sees it, has to go back, and shy of the track makes the catch. Jacob Turner, 3 fly ball outs in a very brief first inning. In Miami. Marlins lineup looks this way tonight. Fish come in at 25 and 24. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Christian Yelich, Derek Dietrich, Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee in the cleanup spot, but the homestand for Garrett Jones, and a lot of damage along the way. Jared Saltalamacchia, Marcelo Ozuna is slotted 7th. Adeiny Echeverria slumping right now. He's in the 8th spot, and Jacob Turner hits 9th.
You know, last night the Marlins saw the 30-year-old Marco Estrada, and today Willie Peralta. Peralta's 25, but a couple of guys you don't hear a whole lot about. But Peralta having a strong year. Look at the ERA. Good fastball and slider. He at times will use the changeup a little more than the slider, and I would expect, with Lucroy seeing how the Marlins had trouble with the changeup last night, he may use it a little bit more in this one.
Here's Christian Yelich, and Yelich takes a fastball for a strike. Yelich an 0 for 5 last night. It's been a bit of a roller coaster in May after a very solid April for Yelich.
But you see the velocity a lot more than what Marco Estrada had last night. Estrada was right around 90 with his fastball.
Peralta out of the Dominican Republic, just 25. And I know the Brewers are known for their hitting, and they had the home runs and the doubles last night. But the strength of this team is their starting rotation. And the names aren't sexy, but a guy like Willie Peralta with a 2.18 ERA. Marco Estrada, who's 4-2 with a win last night. There's a 1-2. Sprayed to the left side. Reynolds has it. Whips it across in time. Free Willie, Tommy. Let's scout him.
Yeah, right. We'll scout him. He won 11 games last year, but he lost 15. He'll sit around 94, 97. We've seen that already. 2 and 4 seamers, some sliders, and some changeups. So we'll see how he works and which ones he uses a little bit more. One of the areas he struggled in last year, he was 5th in the National League with 12 wild pitches. So be on your toes if you get on base.
Here's Dietrich. He was 1 for 4 last night. Well, if the bottom of your rotation is Peralta and Estrada, that's a pretty good rotation. Giovanni Gallardo, who is going to miss a start tomorrow with a sore ankle, he sits at the top of the rotation with Kyle Loesch, and then you've got Matt Garza, and tomorrow's start will be taken by Jimmy Nelson. And for Ron Renneke and the Brewers, they're anxious to see Nelson. He's their top pitching prospect, and he's having a dynamite year in AAA.
Youngster out of the University of Alabama.
Dietrich takes that changeup for a ball, and it's 2-1. So good starting pitching, an offense that can generate power and runs. Dietrich lines it center field. That's Gomez, and he almost overran it.
Wow.
He's an exciting guy, and he almost got a little too excited.
That's an example, I think, of how Derek Dietrich can fool outfielders on how the ball jumps off his bat. He came in on that ball, and that just took off because of the way Dietrich hit it. Because of his ability as an outfielder, one of the best, if not the best center fielder in the league, because of that ability, he was able to regroup and make that play.
He and Mike Redmond had a very warm exchange tonight around the batting cage. Fastball misses into Stanton, and it's 1-0. Redmond and Gomez were teammates with the Minnesota Twins. Gomez was a young player.
It's safe to say Carlos Gomez is a late bloomer.
Now Stanton, and a changeup for a strike. 2 homers last night. Got a fastball there at 97 miles an hour. Stanton leads the National League in homers and leads by a great margin by 9 with runs batted in. Yasiel Puig has 38. Troy Tulowitzki is second in homers with 13.
Stanton last night with the 2 home runs, his 12th multi-homer game of his young career.
And both of those home runs were 440 plus. Lucroy took that one. Home plate umpire Brian Honora is buying him some time. Climbs back behind. See what Stanton gets. 2-2. That little slider, cut fastball, came in, caught the plate. Stanton didn't like it. 1-2-3 inning for Willie Peralta. Underway, Marlins and Brewers, and scoreless. Good afternoon, everybody. It's an afternoon Saturday game, a little bit of an odd start time, but a nice crowd has filed in. Cuban Heritage Day turning into night. And Carlos Gomez, look out, first pitch. He loves to take a rip at it. Turner misses outside, not a bad place to miss. Gomez was dynamite last night. He's been that way most of the year. He's 4 for 5, 3 doubles, drove in 2. Smacks that one to right, and he's got more extra bases. He can run. Stanton to the wall to pick it up. Carlos Gomez with 4 doubles, and this is just game 2 of the series, and he has just 6 at bats.
Well, he tied a club record with the 3 doubles he had last night. What I mentioned, he's kind of a late bloomer. I mean, he's not in his 30s. He's still just 28. But he came up with the Mets. He had some time with Minnesota, but hasn't really materialized and jumped to the forefront since he's become a Brewer.
He is a very well-liked guy among his teammates and others in Major League Baseball, although some don't care for his antics. He's an emotional guy. But Mike Redmond was effusive in praise about him as a player and as a person. Really liked being his teammate in Minnesota.
Yeah, we've heard that from a lot of current players that are around Carlos Gomez.
Mark Reynolds. Tommy described him as an all-or-nothing guy last night, and on 2 occasions he got all of it. He swings and misses. The count is 1-1.
You know, when you talk about Jacob Turner and you break down what he brings to the mound, at times he can be too intelligent out there instead of just letting his talent go ahead and get hitters out.
Gomez in scoring position. 1-1 pitch coming to Reynolds. And he went after it. Reynolds hitting home runs number 10 and 11 last night. If you go back to 2008 and you line up all the major leaguers in home runs, he's 5th. Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, Adam Dunn, and Prince Fielder just went on the disabled
big
list.
Boppers on that list
are the only 4 that have hit more homers than Reynolds. He's picked some great places It's a play for a slugger. Arizona, Baltimore, Milwaukee. Now, he did have a stop in Cleveland last year, but those are 3 premium hitters' parks. Little broken bat. Jones is going to gather it in and get the first out of the inning.
Good job by Garrett Jones, but also a really good pitch by Jacob Turner, who made Reynolds have to swing at that because it was close enough. And also by getting him out that way, he kept Gomez at second. Now you have to be careful with 1 out. Gomez may be thinking about taking third.
Scooter Gennett, Sarasota product, had a nice homecoming of sorts last night with a triple, drove in 2. The Brewers are actually getting great production out of their second base spot. Both Gennett and Ricky Weeks are having terrific years. Gennett, we talked about what he supplied. 8 doubles, a couple triples. Weeks is hitting .317 and impressively on base at a .377 clip and slugging .460. Weeks has 63 at bats. Gennett getting the bulk of the time, 143 at bats.
Well, they like the way right now that Gennett's playing defense out there too.
Dumps that one foul.
Said he had some friends and family. I think his sister's here. He said they have a series in Tampa in July. The Brewers do, and he said that's when he'll load up on the pass list.
Well, the Brewers burst out of the gate, and even though they've run into some injuries with Ramirez and Braun, they are still 9 over, first place in the Central by 2.5 games over St. Louis. And they've been in first place, Tommy, for 50 days already.
Well, when you look at Milwaukee, one of the comparisons, the first thing I do is, okay, compare them with St. Louis, because many feel the Cardinals will win that division.
Ouch. Saltalamacchia gets hit in the head on the backswing, and he's down. And I think that's going to be batter's interference. They're going to send Gomez back to second, and Gennett's going to be out. The backswing hit Saltalamacchia and knocked him down. And they're going to send Gomez back to second.
That's a good call.
Let's hope Saltalamacchia is okay.
It's a good call, but let's hope Salty's all right.
And Gennett is out. No argument from the Brewers dugout. It was pretty cut and dry. Here's a look at it.
Good pitch. Oh, there's the backswing.
Just as he was getting the helmet off.
Yeah. The home plate umpire Brian O'Nora checking in. Mike Redmond checking in. He certainly knows the feeling.
It's a good pitch by Turner, who's retired 2 after giving up the Gomez double.
Yeah, he went with that slider down and in, got Gennett to chase it. There it is. It's a great pitch to a left-handed hitter, especially with 2 strikes. Really hard to lay off that pitch.
Chris Davis is a name you might not have heard before, but you might want to learn it. This is a guy that packs a wallop, and he showed it last night. Davis, a 448-foot home run up to the Budweiser balcony.
Now, for a moment, or for 24 hours, we thought that was the longest home run hit last night. But they've revisited Stanton's first home run, which now measures 463.
And I'll tell you why. When you watch the home run, it appears as if it lands in the bushes, but upon further review, it hit off the batter's eye above the camera cutout and then dropped straight down. Gomez is running, got a good jump, and he'll steal third easily. And the count's 2-0 on Davis. There's the batter's eye.
In this area, right above the batter's eye, right in that area.
Bouncer, Turner knocks it down, picks it up, underhands, nicely done. Jacob Turner pitches around the leadoff double by Carlos Gomez. The scoreless ball game in Miami this afternoon. Milwaukee and Miami. And both teams are adamant that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Jared Saltalamacchia in Miami's half of the second. McGee shoots one into center field, the base hit. It's a leadoff hit from McGee against his old ball club. That'll bring a red-hot Garrett Jones up.
I want to say a rare hit from Casey with nobody on base. Talking about red-hot. Garrett Jones got a fastball, little up, little out over the plate, and absolutely yanked it into that home run porch. Garrett Jones on this homestand is 8 for 12. 2 home runs last night. This one right down the line.
Remember, he had a solid West Coast road trip as well. Overbay holds McGee. And Peralta delivers up. So if you add it up, Jones's last 12 games, he's hit .415, 6 doubles and 3 homers.
You and I commented on it last night, the fact that during that stretch, we've seen him hit some balls the other way, too. A bunt, kind of cross up the shift. He had a base hit to left field that crossed up the shift. I think that was in L.A.
Checkers bringing you Fox Tracks. That one actually wandered outside on Brian Anora. The shift and the Brewers are one of the most aggressive shifting teams. Not so extreme for Jones with a runner at first. Jones drives it center field, hits it well. Back goes Gomez, turns around and makes the catch. He's like Spider-Man out there in center field. As soon as he turned his back, you almost thought, is it over his head? And then he stopped, and the ball was right there.
That's just a sign of a good outfielder. He knew right where that ball was going to come. There he turns, stops, it's right there, head high.
Kind of has the same mannerisms as Dave Henderson, Hendu.
Good call. Who also was a very exciting player to watch.
Absolutely. One of my former partners. Here's Saltalamacchia now. So a long out from Jones. He's Saltalamacchia had that long 0-for streak, 0 for 26, which he snapped with 4 hits on the West Coast. Drives that one fair into the corner. McGee hustling for third. Braun into the corner. They'll send him. Here comes McGee, and he will score. The ball stuck in the corner. Braun had to retrieve it. Just enough time for Casey McGee to come all the way in from first.
Well, no problem with the back getting Saltalamacchia on the helmet. He shook it off, and this ball stays. If it kicks out to Braun, they may have a play. But keep in mind, Brett Butler at third knows that Casey doesn't run that well, but also is keeping his eye on the ball and aggressively sends him home, and he scored easily.
So Saltalamacchia drives in the first run of the night, and here's Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna has had a nice homestand, had 2 big home runs against the Phillies. And Lucroy out to check with his pitcher. He's got a catcher. Anytime you get a catcher at second base, you want to make sure you have everybody on the same page and that the signs are sequenced such that a guy like Saltalamacchia can't figure them out after the first or second pitch. Ozuna swings and misses. The first pitch breaking ball.
I think one of the things Lucroy may have talked to Peralta about, the Marlins have had good swings at fastballs, and he may have talked to him about maybe the slider, maybe the changeup a little bit more.
Well, he's got life on that fastball too. He's been living at 96, 97.
Another Tommy John surgery survivor. Had Tommy John surgery back in 07. So still a youngster at the time, teenager.
Buries a breaking ball. And the count 2-1. At home, look at Marcell Ozuna. He's driven in 26. And as you pointed out last night, and it holds true tonight, the Marlins have got a trio of players in the top 10 in RBIs, with Ozuna and McGee sitting at 30. Stanton leads at 47. That almost got him. You don't have great speed at second. Outfield very deep.
The one advantage in this ballpark, that guys with below average speed can still score on base hits to the outfield because everybody has to play a little deeper.
Ozuna, a one hopper, and Jeanette goes to first in time to get the out. We'll see what the Brewers do here with Echeverria.
Because that was kind of a lazy liner on that one hopper, even though it was to the right side, Saltalamacchia had to pause. He just want to get doubled off on a line drive, so he remains at second.
Echeverria 0 for 10 on this homestand. And an 0 for 2 night last night before the Marlins double switched and brought him out of the game. And you would think that Peralta will probably waste a couple pitches, see if they can get Echeverria to swing, and if not, walk him intentionally with Turner on deck. Tough part for Etch now is he's got to be ready in case he does get a pitch to hit.
All of a sudden, looks like Peralta struggling with maybe perspiration. He walked off the mound, looked like he wiped his forearm. But I don't think he's going to give Echeverria much to hit. Just barely finding fox tracks.
Well, the right hand hasn't come out yet from Lucroy. Let's see if he throws him anything near the plate. Now he did, and he gets him. Jeanette fires to first in time. Miami's on the board. Jared Saltalamacchia, an RBI double. As we head to the third, it's 1-0 Fish. Knocking in Casey McGee. Time now for you to tweet your favorite fan photo. FL fan photo, the hashtag. It's a chance to have it shown in an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by AT&T.
A couple of things you look for early, and I'm sure they've been a nice confidence boost for Jacob Turner. Number one, he's throwing the ball well. He got 3 fly ball outs in that first inning. And number two, the way he pitched around that leadoff double in the second inning.
Lyle Overbay. Overbay, it seems like he's been in the big leagues for 20 years. And as we were talking about before the ball game, it seems like he was a Brewer a long time ago.
He would be the part of an answer to a great Milwaukee Brewer trivia question. Because I think even hardcore Brewer fans might not come up with the only 2 Brewer players to ever have 50 or more doubles in a season.
50 or more doubles. How about Ryan Braun and Lyle Overbay?
Well, Overbay is one. I kind of gave that away. But Aramis Ramirez, the other.
Overbay into right field. Overbay's first year in the big leagues was actually 2001 with Arizona.
I remember at the time talking to Mark Grace about Lyle Overbay, and he had much to say. He praised his swing, loved the way he was at the plate. Said, you're really going to like him. that long career. He's 37 now.
Here's Willie Peralta, and you would think he'll be bunting. You got Overbay at first. Saltalamacchia is really getting beat up today. He got the backswing on the top of the head. Caught a piece of that foul tip. McGee creeping in at third. Jones has to hold Overbay at first.
Today it's been fun for Casey McGee to kind of reunite with some former teammates, some guys with the Brewers who just absolutely loved Casey as a teammate. And I'm sure his Marlins teammates feel the same too.
Trying to bunt, he went around. You rarely see a pitcher show that type of emotion, but Peralta, he didn't use the barrel of the bat. It looked like he flipped it over and was holding the barrel and then snapped it when he slammed it on the ground. The home plate umpire, Brian Honora, is cleaning up a lot of the kindling.
Yeah, that's when you're a regular player and you're over on the bench. You hope he's not using one of your bats.
Top of the order, Gene Segura. And he shortens the bunt.
The repertoire of Jacob Turner, that fastball we've seen 93, 94. Good slider, curveball. He'll throw some change-ups.
Oh, 1 breaking ball is into left field, the base hit. So Segura guides it into left. A couple hits for Milwaukee this inning.
Well, the good news, Segura's at first, but he's got Overbay ahead of him, who doesn't run that well.
And that's one of the concerns coming in, is the Brewers are a team that likes to run, and Turner has had trouble holding runners this year. The Marlins as a team, not just Turner, but as a team, the Marlins have had trouble. They've given up 41 stolen bases and caught just 10 runners. So here's Braun, who hit a soft line drive to Stanton in right. Braun, of course, a terrific college player at the University of Miami, 5th overall pick back in 2005. And I think Major League Baseball fans are still sorting out how they feel about Ryan Braun after his suspension. Certainly has had a great career, 5-time All-Star, MVP in 2011. There's a strike, and I think that was out.
Well, there's no question. The numbers speak for themselves, but there also is no question of the 50-game suspension, and then also the way the suspension was handled. And initially him denying things.
The first suspension, 2011, you're right.
Yeah.
So much so that I believe it was Matt Kemp who was second in the MVP voting. Many felt that Braun should have had the MVP taken away and have it given to Kemp.
A lot of people thought Kemp should have won the MVP anyway.
Counts 2-2. Bouncer over the middle. Dietrich has it. Flip there. Echeverria onto first. And safe at first is Braun. And that's going to get a hot Jonathan Lucroy up with 2 outs and runners at the corners.
Good job by Dietrich, just making sure he caught that ball and then got the flip to Echeverria. I was a little surprised Etch threw the ball. Really didn't have an opportunity or any chance to get two. But that's a play where if you're Dietrich, you just want to make sure you catch it and get the out at second. He did that.
Now Luke Croy, 2 for 5 last night. He flied to deep right back in the first. Braun has a bit of a sore right side. He's a guy that in his history has also stolen bases as well as provided pop. Overbay and Braun.
Breaking ball away. The fastball in on the hands of Luke Croy. Talk about Luke Croy being 6th in the National League in batting average. Creeping up and 2nd in the league now in batting average. Yasiel Puig. Puig at 343.
O2, Saltalamacchia giving everything up just to knock that ball down, and he does. Luke Croy played his college ball at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Umatilla, Florida. Saturday afternoon start, Cuban Heritage Day. A good buzz in the ballpark. Braun is running, and a liner to Echeverria makes the catch. And the inning ends on a hard hit ball. Miami hanging on to a 1-0 lead.
Week we've been looking at some of the numbers offensively at Marlins Park. Many surprising people. You wouldn't be going out on a limb to say this is a good hitter's park. The stats certainly bear that, with the Marlins hitting much better in 2014. But this includes both teams when you look around the league. How about this one? Slugging percentage. Marlins Park right now behind Coors Field. You know how good a park that is to hit. Rogers Center in Toronto, Chase Field in Arizona, and Yankee Stadium. And Marlins Park up to 420 slugging. And the number that really may surprise you is 48 home runs at this ballpark, which is the top 10 in Major League Baseball. In fact, it is tied for 8th. After last year, only 84 were hit here by far and away. In fact, by 22 home runs. That was the lowest amount in all of baseball. I told that number to Giancarlo Stanton today, the 48 homers 8th. He couldn't believe it. And he said, wow, that's a shocker. But that's how it's been. Obviously, the Marlins have bigger hitters this year, left-hand side. Stanton's off to a good start. And with good offense and a lot of real estate, it's meant to be a pretty good hitter's park. Guys?
Thank you, Craig. Jacob Turner called out on strikes. Willie Peralta opens the third with his second strikeout. Fox Tracks is brought to you by Checkers today, and that pitch number 3 lived right on the corner. Anytime part of the ball is up against the line, that is considered a strike.
Well, Peralta has pitched extremely well. He was 3-1 in April, 2.56 ERA. Here in the month of May, 1-2. He's lost a couple of tough ones, but his ERA is 1.73 in the month of May.
A little slider that he throws doesn't come a long way, but it has a nice late break.
You called it cutter. It almost looks like cutter, but all the scouting reports tell us slider. But yeah, it's a sharp, short breaking slider.
That one sent down the line foul. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Yelich bounced to third back in the first. What do you see from Christian Yelich here at the plate these last 3 weeks?
It's been weird because we've seen some really good at bats. We've seen some home runs. At times,
line drive. That would be a really good at bat.
Beautiful Christian Yelich right there.
And he's got himself a 1-out double.
At times, it seems he takes a lot of pitches that are pretty good pitches to hit. And at times, it looks like he might be feeling for the ball. But he got a fastball up there. No feeling for that one. And just a nice swing.
And so a terrific job by Yelich. Now he's in scoring position. You've got Dietrich with Stanton on deck and only 1 out here in the third.
But remember, Dietrich hit that screaming line drive that was almost misplayed by Gomez in center field.
Dietrich steps out. The Brewers have shifted against Dietrich more than any other team that we've seen. And the whole genesis of defensive shifts kind of took place in Anaheim when Ron Renneke and Joe Madden were on the coaching staff of Mike Scioscia. Renneke told us today that Scioscia really wasn't a big proponent of it, but he and Joe Madden, remember Madden used to travel, this is before laptops, with this big old computer with spreadsheets and spray charts. And those are the two guys that really cooked it up, that have made it popular and have made it work.
But in our conversation with Ron Renneke, he also emphasized the importance of the pitcher.
Yes, do you shift to the pitcher's strength, or do you pitch to where the mistake might be made? Those are all decisions that you have to weigh. That's close. Now that's one of those plays this year that is close enough that you might get a review on it because it's bang bang. Corey Blazer the second base umpire a look, and I think he may have him.
Boy, that was close. Yeah, you're right. That was a perfect throw. Couldn't have been more of a perfect throw.
Now Redick is looking into the dugout, waiting for the thumbs up or thumbs down on whether to review. Brewers video room has got the same feed that the umpires in New York will have.
Johnny Narron, the bench coach, or Jerry Narron, Johnny Narron, the hitting coach. So the Narron brothers on the coaching staff for Ron Renicky.
From that look, it's hard to tell. Blazer kind of
looked a little more safe from that look.
And that first look almost looked like the glove had the wrist before he got back. Yelich and Segura talking. From that angle, you can't really tell if the glove did hit the wrist. There's a 1-1. That may have been one where the video guy looked at it and said, "It's not conclusive. It could be, but it might not be." And do you want to burn the challenge in the third inning? It's a big challenge because you get Yelich out of scoring position. But I don't think either of those replays were conclusive.
No, and it has to be. But it got Yelich's attention, I guarantee that. That was conclusive.
And especially with the shift, you've got Segura almost directly behind the bag at second. 2-1. Sails up, and while Peralta has busied himself with Yelich at second, he's fallen behind Dietrich, and that guy's on deck.
They tried a changeup. He hasn't thrown many changeups, but that last pitch, not a good one.
In the air center. Gomez makes the catch. And so the Brewers now get to pitch to Stanton. First base is open, so they can be a little more cautious, though Peralta struck Stanton out on a good cutter in the first.
You were talking earlier when we were talking about Ron Renicky mentioning Joe Madden. I'm just reading a great tweet from Joe Madden. Everyone is talking about it, but I don't mind the length of games. It's the silence between the notes that creates the music. That sounds like Joe Madden, doesn't it?
We'll get a chance to see Joe Madden and the Rays.
Always look forward to that.
That's about a week and a half away. Monday the 2nd of June. Rays are here for 2. Marlins go there for 2 on the 4th and the 5th. And then Miami on that trip ends up at Wrigley Field for the weekend, and then an odd 2-game series in Texas. Stanton had a good rip at a 2-0 pitch, and it's 2-1. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, multi-homer games. Stanton now atop the list with Hanley Ramirez.
How about our own Preston Wilson on that list? Every time he's tried to ride that fastball, he's tried to ride it in under the hands of Giancarlo.
McGee is on deck. Yelich at second, 2 outs. A run for the Marlins in the bottom of the second, hitting here in the bottom of the third. It's out, and so they pitched cautiously to Stanton. And as a reward, Peralta gets to face Casey McGee, who everybody knows, is one of baseball's best this year with runners in scoring position. In fact, only Troy Tulowitzki is above McGee. McGee 438 with runners in scoring position. Tulowitzki 463.
Well, we saw Casey McGee single up the middle in the second inning. That's exactly what he's thinking about doing here. That's where he's gotten a lot of his RBIs.
Here's the 1-0. Good speed with Yelich. Stanton runs well. He's at first. McGee, grounder in the hole. Segura looks, double clutch. Base hit. Bags are loaded.
You know, if Segura had initially thrown to first base, I think he would have had a shot at getting Casey McGee. It's going to be an infield base hit. But Segura looked at third, didn't have a play there. By the time he looked at third, he didn't have a play at second either. There's the speed of Yelich, plus it was tough for Reynolds to get to third. And by the time he finally threw to first, there are the two looks, the pump fake, and Casey McGee with an infield base hit.
It goes as a hit with the runner in scoring position, though it doesn't score the run. And now Miami's hottest hitter is up, Garrett Jones, who blasted one about 400 feet into the glove of Gomez in center field. That was in the second. They're loaded here. Jones pulls a chopper over Bay, has it, and he'll get to the bag, step on the bag. And Miami leaves them loaded. 3 in the books. Marlins a 1-0 lead. Group outing at Marlins Park. Party areas, suite rentals, special event nights, and fundraisers. You can experience Marlins baseball in a variety of group packages. 305-480-2523 or go to marlins.com/groups. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson with you. Jacob Turner, so far so good. And in the fourth, with a 1-0 lead, they'll take aim at the excitable Carlos Gomez, the powerful Mark Reynolds, and Sarasota's own Scooter Gennett.
There are not a lot of breathing areas in this lineup, if you will.
Bouncer to short. Echeverria on to first.
Good to get those one pitch outs though. Good job commanding his pitches today. Fastball that Turner's worked in and out. He's had a good slider.
He's staring at a lineup that did a lot of damage last night against Tom Kohler. 7 runs, 9 hits for Kohler.
And he's done that a lot. Spotted that fastball away. So that's a pitch that's a great pitch against this aggressive hitting team, because all right, it's a fastball, but it's not a real hittable fastball, so a lot of them have taken the pitch.
Reynolds with the count, 0-2. Broken bat liner to Jones at first in the second. Pair of home runs last night, 382 and 402 the distances. If you've just joined us, the tape measure from last night actually was adjusted on one of the home runs. Giancarlo Stanton's second homer was 444 feet. It was originally the first home run originally at 440. It's now 463 after further review, and that's into center field. And Reynolds bangs a single. Here's the home run, and I think the issue, and this is not a Marlin representative, this is HitTrackerOnline.com, the site for home runs. Saw the ball land in the bushes. It actually bounced off the top of the batter's eye and then went straight down into the bushes.
Had one earlier in the year that hit off that facing and bounced down. That was hard to determine right away. The total distance on all the home runs hit last night, there it is, bouncing off that batter's eye. The total distance for all the 7 home runs, 2,946 feet.
Now that was last night, right?
That was last night.
What about Stanton's? If you took all of Stanton's home runs this year and added them up,
a little over a mile, 5,996 feet,
which averages like what, 428?
Yeah.
Oh, 0-1 to Jeanette.
And the measure I kind of liked, and we'll see it this week. If you're thinking about tape measure home runs, Stanton's longest 484. The Washington Monument is 555 feet.
Dan Jennings is in the Marlins pen right now and is throwing. Jennings was recalled when Brad Hand was placed on the disabled list this afternoon with a sore ankle. Jennings, during batting practice, had yet to arrive, so he may just be up to get loose and work out the kinks of a cross-country flight.
Get the juices going a little bit, get loose. Because Jacob Turner's only thrown 48 pitches now. There's that roster move you were talking about.
Counts 2-1 to Jeanette. Yelich makes the catch. 2 outs here in the 4th. A quick look around baseball. Teams in the National League East. The Mets at home having trouble with Arizona. It's 3-0 in the top of the 3rd. Arizona on top. Mets are 5.5 back. Phils 6 back. And the Phillies right now have a 5-3 lead at home against the Dodgers in the 8th inning. Atlanta trails Colorado 1-0 in the 4th in Atlanta. Washington plays Pittsburgh tonight.
How about the Red Sox trying to snap an 8-game losing streak? Red Sox with an early 5-1 lead in St. Pete against the Rays in the 3rd inning, but 8 straight losses for the Red Sox.
How about the team they're trailing right now, the suddenly hot Toronto Blue Jays?
I saw a note where it's the first time in about 11 years the Blue Jays have been in first place this late in the season.
5-2, Toronto beats Oakland for their 5th consecutive win.
Now they have Mark Burley leading the way. He's won 8 games. R.A. Dickey threw a good game today.
Toronto has a 2-game lead in the East over the Yankees. It's because Baltimore lost today. They were shut out by Cleveland 9-0. Turner working here to Chris Davis. Out. Mark Reynolds trying to swim move, but he was picked off. On top of the Brewers. Now Mark Reynolds asked his manager to come out and challenge the play. Here's a look. Leading. Got the swim move going.
Doesn't get it with the left hand. He's already been tagged right there. Now the right hand finally hits the bag.
And his manager did come out and engage Doug Eddings in the pleasantries that managers and umpires enjoy now. Looked into the dugout, and the video room of the Brewers said he's out.
And I like that. Is that really called a swim move?
Yeah, it's sort of a swim move. You show him one arm, swim it back.
It's a freestyle move.
Go in with the other arm.
Not to be confused with the matrix slide of Omar Infante.
No. Here is Saltalamacchia now against Willie Peralta. And a low fastball opens the bottom of the 4th. Marcelo Zuna, Adeiny Echeverria. Saltalamacchia driving in the only run of the night. When he doubled down the right field line, Casey McGee scored all the way from first.
You can see with the arm that Peralta has why when he was a youngster in the Dominican he was scouted as an outfielder.
Marlins and Brewers tomorrow, and again it was supposed to be Ronnie Gallardo, but with a sore ankle he's going to miss a turn. Jimmy Nelson makes his 2nd major league start. Appeared at the end of last year. Ground ball first over Bay. And there's one out. Next Marlins watch party is on Tuesday, the 27th. Duffy Sports Grill in Coconut Grove. Marlins and Nationals at 7:05. Prizes, Billy, Energy Team, great food and drink specials. It's at Duffy's Grill in the Grove. Go to Marlins.com for more information. Ozuna now. He bounced to second in the second.
Be a while until these teams match up again after tomorrow's game. Marlins won't see the Brewers until the second week of September in Milwaukee for a 4-game series.
Well, that'll be that's always a wild scene, and by all accounts it looks like the Brewers will be in contention. They're in first place right now.
You would think.
Their rotation and the pop in their lineup.
And it's been a tough matchup for the Marlins over the years. Last 22 games that these two teams have played, the Marlins have won just 5.
Games in Milwaukee at Miller Park are as close as you can find in the sport of baseball to a college football scene or an NFL scene as far as tailgating in the parking lot. It is incredible. It is one of the great scenes to come up to the ball game.
And you're talking like 2.5, 3 hours before the game.
Absolutely. The food, I mean, last year when Preston was doing the games with me, we actually did an open from a barbecue in the middle of a tailgate.
That sounds good, because I always want to jump off the team bus and grab me a sausage. Give me a brat.
And the people were so nice. They fed us. Preston ate a beer boiled sausage. A sausage.
Can you do that before a broadcast?
Boiled, and he did. There's a 3-2. So it fouls it at the plate. So we look forward, and second week in September means that everyone's going to be in that football mode. The universe, the Badgers will be rolling, and the Packers will have started. Summer will be over. Full count. Peralta to Ozuna.
Nice crowd here this afternoon. I want to say afternoon. Late start, 4 o'clock start.
Not sure what to call it.
Yeah,
really.
not sure whether. That's a good question. Is this considered a day game or a night game? I would say day game.
High fly ball. Braun makes the catch. And tomorrow's start is a 1 o'clock start. So Marlins live pregame show presented by your South Florida Honda dealers hits air at 12:30. And inside the Marlins preview, Randy Wolf, a former Milwaukee Brewer, gets his first Marlins start. And it will be interesting to see, for a guy that's been on the shelf for a while with his second Tommy John surgery, how Wolf looks. Echeverria, another ground ball to Jeanette, fires to first in time. And a 1-2-3 fourth, 1-0 Miami. brought to you by Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money-back guarantee. By the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over. And by Rand Eye Institute, imagine clear, focused vision without the hassle of glasses or contacts. For more info, go to randeye.com. Jacob Turner on the hill as he enters the fifth. He gets Chris Davis, Lyle Overbay, and Willie Peralta. Davis was at the plate when Mark Reynolds was picked off to end the fourth. For Turner's been a nice day so far.
You know, if you think about it, in Jacob Turner's last outing, that game in San Francisco, most of the damage was done in that first inning. Giants got 3 runs in the first inning. And then the only other run Turner allowed was that Sandoval home run in the fifth. But it has been a while since Jacob Turner has won a game, albeit some of his own doing, some of just lack of support.
He has 17 starts. He has company. There's some other guys out there. I think a guy with tougher luck is Jeff Samardzija of the Cubs, who's pitched really well. Has gone 16 starts without a win.
Woo! Boy, he's been finding that outside corner all day.
Longest drought in the big leagues right now is Hector Noesi, 18. We just saw Kyle Kendrick. Kendrick's gone 16.
That's hard to believe.
It is.
Yeah, Jacob Turner's last win was last August. July 10th against Atlanta.
And that's in. I think the frustrating thing for Turner and for the Marlins is they've seen him get on a nice roll. He did that in his first 8 starts with the Marlins. He had an ERA in the low 2s and was 3-1. But of 38 career starts, he's won just 5 of them in the big leagues. He's 5-16.
And the tantalizing part, well, a couple of things. The fact that he just turned 23, and the fact that he has shown signs of being able to get hitters out consistently up here.
Overbay now after the leadoff walk to Davis.
Jacob Turner made his major league debut in 2011 when he was just 20 years old with the Tigers.
Milwaukee back in first place. They last won the Central in 2011. Right now they have a record 9 over South Florida Lexus standings. A 2.5 game lead over St. Louis. Pittsburgh has started to play better. The Reds have underperformed, I think, for a lot of people.
Well, Cincinnati beat the Cardinals last night. Big 3-run homer by Todd Frazier. Those two teams match up again tonight.
Echeverria goes to get it. Dietrich the turn. Got him. Double play. And a difficult one.
Well, that was nice to watch. good two-seamer, got Overbay to hit the ground ball. Now crosses body with the throw, and it's right there for Dietrich, who knew he had time because Overbay doesn't run that well. And there's the double play. Good job.
And that allows Turner to face Peralta with 2 outs, and if he can end the inning, get into the dugout and keep this 1-0 lead.
And those double plays always help the pitch count,
which is at a very economical 61 right now. Ball and a strike. That 2011 Milwaukee team finished 96 and 66. Franchise record for wins. Slow tapper. McGee has it. And gets the out, and Turner has turned in 5 shutout innings against a powerful Milwaukee lineup.
It is Make-A-Wish night here at the ballpark. You're looking at 16-year-old Marcus Gomez, who's here as part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. An exciting day for him. He got the shag. He's the bat boy, and wishes continue to be granted now for the 30th year. I'm with Norm Wedderburn on my right, Michael Ortega on my left, executive CEOs with Make-A-Wish. Norm, first of all, what a wish for Marcus today, and that's what you guys do at Make-A-Wish. Congratulations celebrating your 30th year, and to show that, we've got the Pachanga Band on hand with you.
Exactly. No, we're really excited that we've been a part of this community for 30 years, granting wishes. I always tell everybody in our first year we granted 2 wishes. This year we'll probably grant about 550 wishes, and we're rapid. You know, somewhere next October we'll hit 10,000 wishes in South Florida. So we've been around for a while doing great things in the community.
And it's a natural. Michael Ortega is the chairman of the board. That sports and Make-A-Wish is just a natural connection as it's making a wish today for Marcus Gomez.
Absolutely, and you know, it's because of organizations like the Marlins that we're able to grant those wishes, and it's great. It's great for the kids to experience their wish, and gives them a lot of energy and support as they're going through a challenging time in their life. So it really is very positive.
And it used to be, I think, whereas for terminally ill children, now it's a situation of life-threatening.
Yeah. We are life-threatening illness or disease or condition, and we're really excited. I mean, we have a young woman who's on our board of directors who received her wish over 20 years ago.
Oh,
and
that's great.
And her wish was to meet Arsenio Hall, and then she became a volunteer, and today she's on our board of directors, and we have a lot of those stories to share. So we're all about hope, strength, and joy.
And we're taking a look. We saw some footage of Marcus. He got a chance to go on the field and shag. He also threw out the first pitch.
He did. That was a great day for him. I think he even arrived here about 1 o'clock, got to have some lunch with the players in the clubhouse. So it's truly been a very special day for him. It's been excellent.
The Marlins enjoy hooking up with you guys year after year. And great job all these years. The Make-A-Wish Foundation just brought a base hit to the Marlins.
That's excellent. It's a great game, and hopefully we can hold on and win this. And we've been so fortunate to have a relationship with the Marlins organization. Everybody from the top down has been so supportive of what we do, and we're really, really fortunate to have these kind of partners in our community.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Richard Tommy.
All right, Craig, thanks. Jacob Turner legging out an infield hit.
All right, thanks.
He's aboard. You've got Christian Yelich, Derek Dietrich up here in the bottom of the fifth, halfway through in Miami. And the Marlins on top of the Brewers, 1-0.
Good effort by Scooter Gennett. I think he had a play had he not just bobbled the ball in transition to make the throw. So the second hit of the year for Jacob Turner. Have the Met pitchers finally gotten a hit? It took a while.
Ask our baseball historian over there.
He's nodding yes.
Where were they, like 0 for 50 something?
I think it was in the 60s. 0 for 64 I think they got.
Phillies have taken that lead into the ninth over the Dodgers, 5-3. Jonathan Papelbon is in trying to close the door.
Terrific start last night by Clayton Kershaw against the Phillies.
Yelich, a bouncer towards short. Segura gets one. Jeanette's turn. Yelich, plenty of speed to beat that. So Turner is erased. Derek Dietrich comes up. Fox Sports Supports is especially proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin campaign, which honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, visit goldstarpins.org.
One thing with Yelich at first base, and you have one out, you really have to, you think about a stolen base and not getting caught, because you want Stanton to hit in this inning. So it's one of those, if you steal or attempt to, you better be 100%.
Yelich has been pretty darn close to 100%
Yeah, he has.
in his career. He's been caught just once.
But I think sometimes it probably limits his attempts.
Dietrich rifles one into right field, base hit. Yelich round second, on his way to third. The throw from Braun is cut, and Dietrich scrambles back to first. At the corners for Stanton. No worries there with that line drive base hit off the bat of Derek Dietrich. And also no worries in Yelich cruising from first to third with those nice long strides. Ryan Braun had no chance at all. And just like that, first and third, Stanton is coming up. Stanton has struck out and has walked. Two home runs last night. Leads the National League with 14. 463 feet to center, 444 feet to left center.
Boy, pitcher's call on that first pitch.
Stanton does not do a whole lot of arguing at the plate. If he does, he keeps it quiet. He's discreet about it, and he goes after it. Good breaking ball. Counts 0-2.
You know, the other night against the Phillies, A.J. Burnett, young umpire behind the plate, there were some questionable calls. You can see Stanton was upset, but yeah, he handles it differently than most.
A swing and a miss. And Peralta with a big strikeout of Stanton. He certainly handled it differently than A.J. Burnett, who made a pretty big scene about some pitches that were actually out of the strike zone.
Well, and Willie Peralta handled Giancarlo pretty well.
He has struck him out twice, and here's McGee. McGee is 2 for 2, both singles. This is a spot that McGee has thrived in, and he's done it, in his words, by not trying to do too much.
Not trying to do too much and being really patient.
That's 2-0. In the dirt. Active leaders. Runners in scoring position and 2 outs. McGee at 326 in his career.
Boy, how many of Freddie Freeman's have been against the Marlins, too?
Let's see if he has a rip at 3-0. It's a strike.
Taking all the way. Got another hot hitter on deck.
Willie Peralta has the 7th best ERA in the National League. Miami a 1-0 lead at the corners. 2 outs. McGee unloaded, fouls it off. And then turns around, asks Brian O'North if there's a strike or not. Dietrich on the move from first. 3-2 coming. Struck him out. McGee doesn't like it. It's just out. in Miami this afternoon. In front of a nice crowd at Marlins Park. Brewers and Marlins, Game 2, weekend set. Brewers with a big night last night. Along with Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson, Rich Waltz with you. As the Fish have a 1-0 lead here. Jacob Turner throws a strike to Gene Segura.
Segura was outspoken on that call. Now he's trying to say, okay, I just kind of jumped out. I didn't mean it. Didn't mean it. You got to figure if it's not close, Segura didn't swing at it. Because if it's close, he'll swing.
I don't know that Brian O'Nora factored that in. Dietrich diving on his feet, throws him out.
Obviously, Derek Dietrich is pleased with that play, but there's another guy over the Marlins dugout just as pleased. There's a hanging breaking ball. Jacob Turner gets away with it. Got some defensive help. Perry Hill positions the infielders, gets him in the right spot, and also loved that play, I'm sure. There's the pick. He straightens up and gets Segura by a couple of steps.
Here's Ryan Braun. Braun in this ball game is flied out, bounced into a fielder's choice, getting the start, but hitting second, and admittedly in that 2 spot because he's not at 100%, doesn't have the full swing.
Kind of interesting, his major league debut, he batted second. And then just kind of settled into mostly number 3s, had the opportunity to hit 4th, but mostly number 3 spot. You hear the term ball is coming out of Turner's hand sharply, crisply. He's completing his pitches.
There's a ground ball right side. Is going to get into right field for a hit. So Braun punches one. That brings up the number 3 hitter, Jonathan Lucroy. Memorial Day, Marlins at Nationals from our nation's capital. 12:30 Eastern on Fox Sports Florida. Over on Fox Sports 1, 8 Eastern, the Army's elite compete with each other, push themselves to the limit in the best Ranger competition. Fox Fight Night then live from Fort Bliss, Texas, beginning at 9 Eastern. Lucroy. Talking about the Brewers, the last time they went to the postseason was 2011. They won the division series against Arizona, lost in the National League Championship Series to St. Louis in 6 games. Their opening day lineup in 2011, Casey McKee was at third base. Mark Kotsay was in the outfield. And of course, a big bat that was there in 11 that's long gone, and in fact 2 teams removed and now on the disabled list for the rest of the year, Prince Fielder.
Yeah, tough news for the Texas Rangers, finding out that neck surgery with the herniated disc involved is going to have Prince Fielder out for the entire year, rest of the year.
Phillies beat the Dodgers. Papelbon's 13th save, 5-3 the final.
In the meantime, Detroit acquired Ian Kinsler in that deal. Is having a real solid year for the Tigers.
Kinsler And the Tigers are actually hosting Texas. So the Rangers are in Detroit, 5-1 Texas, bottom of the 5th. On one, Lucroy pulls it just foul. Down the line it goes. The lead for the Rockies has doubled to 2-0, and it's holding up into the 6th inning in Atlanta. Troy Tulowitzki has hit his 14th homer, so he's tied with Giancarlo. Michael Kadire has also homered for the Rockies. It's a Juan Nicasio start against Mike Minor. Marlins obviously seeing the Nationals on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Then back home against the Braves. So a big week of baseball next week.
I had to check something in the Phillies box score. Ben Revere, the line in the ball game, 4 at-bats, 3 runs, 4 hits, and an RBI.
But he didn't homer.
He didn't homer. Still hasn't homered. He did have a double. One-two, line to left. Yelich is there, makes the catch. Lucroy hit it right on the button.
Boy, he swinging the bat well. He lined out to short. Remember back in the 3rd inning.
This is kind of a hump of an inning for Turner to get through because he's in the teeth of the order. He's got Braun, Lucroy, Gomez, and if anybody reaches, Reynolds.
And he's in an area in the pitch count, 75, where certainly if he gets by this inning and can take the game into the 7th, maybe even further, it just helps that bullpen even more.
Gomez, another double in this ball game. He's got 4 doubles in the series. Gomez, an all-star last year. This is a first-place team, so if you had to pluck some all-stars off of this team, you'd probably look at Gomez, who's been in the leadoff spot most of the year. He's already got 10 homers and 14 doubles.
Certainly look at Lucroy.
Absolutely. Kyle Loesch might be a guy you would call upon as well. And then the back of the bullpen, Francisco Rodriguez is having an all-star type season.
All-stars will be on their way to Minneapolis this year.
Right field base hit. Stanton has it. Braun will stop at second, and now Turner faces a dangerous hitter in Mark Reynolds. Gomez 2 for 3.
Both of Gomez's hits, the double down the right field line, the single into left field. I guarantee when he was early in his career as a Met, then with Minnesota, he didn't do that as much, and that's why he's a better player now. Carlos Gomez 6 for 8 in this series.
Here's why Mark Reynolds is so dangerous.
Well, this was in the ball game last night, 4th inning, of Tom Kohler, who was missing with his pitches. Got too much of the plate on too many of his pitches.
Well, it's a great way to start Reynolds out. A lot of break on that. I'm not sure if it caught the plate or not. Reynolds is wondering the same. Oh, 1 pitch. Now that one is out. Let's see what the first pitch was. Oh boy. That was way out.
Missed a whole lot more than the pitch to Casey McGee.
Of course, it's easy to sit up here and
absolutely
and look at Fox Tracks after the fact. Swing and a miss. You climb behind it. 6'4", 6'5" Saltalamacchia and have balls coming at you at 94, 95 with all kinds of movement and spin and dipping and darting. Braun out at second, Gomez at first. 1 and 2 to Reynolds. Turner. Liner over the head of Echeverria, and it's in for a hit. And Milwaukee on the board, hustling to third. Gomez, he is out! The run does not count! The run does not count! He's out at third before the runner crossed the plate. And Gomez getting thrown out cost the Brewers a run.
Boy, let's watch this play unfold.
Look at that.
Ryan Braun has not touched the plate. Good call by the home plate ump. No run.
The call that the run did not cross the plate before the out was at third. Here's the play at third. Here's what I think they should have challenged, but they didn't. And he's out.
Tag is applied right on top of the helmet.
And because that's a lot closer than this. This is cut and dry. There's no way. He's 3 steps from the plate.
And he slowed up a little bit, Ryan Braun, in trying to score. Great heads-up call because the umpires have to be all over that in the play at third and also the runner crossing the plate at home.
When that ball went into left field, it was almost a sure thing that the Brewers had a run. I mean, even Braun wasn't going 100% thinking, hey, I'm going to score easily.
Not to mention throw in a perfect throw from Christian Yelich to get Gomez at third base.
What an enormous play in a 1-0 ball game. So Renicky had a choice. He could challenge the call at third or challenge the fact that Braun hadn't scored before the tag, but it was pretty obvious that he hadn't scored before the tag. I mean, 3 steps worth. So Milwaukee no longer has a challenge. It's not a bad time to throw a challenge out there because once the 7th inning comes, umpires can at their discretion look at a replay, but the Brewers can no longer force or ask the umpires to do it and challenge on their own. So it's still 1-0. And a strike from Peralta to Garrett Jones. Jones, Saltalamacchia, and Marcell Ozuna. Nice job in the truck with a definitive look on the play at third and the play at the plate. And I would expect that when we hear back from New York that that's the angle that they used. Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, it was a great job giving all of us a perfect look.
I think if Ryan Braun had to do it over again, he may have kept the pedal to the metal, so to speak.
It's something you always teach. You always make sure you try to do that. Many times we see, you know, it's the old assume. Don't ever assume. Don't assume that there's not going to be a play on another runner before you cross home plate.
And of course, if Gomez had to do it over again, he probably would have stayed at second.
Yeah, but he doesn't play the game that way. He plays the game aggressively.
And as you pointed out, it took a perfect throw from Yelich and a nice tag by McGee. Peralta still throwing hard. It's a 1-0 ball game. Jared Saltalamacchia's RBI double is the only run up there. That came in the second for Miami.
After Peralta threw that pitch, he came way off the mound over toward first base and kind of wandered around a little bit, even to have his catcher ask him if he was okay. But he said, yeah.
Jones kind of followed that all the way out. Full count. Deep drive, hooking, foul.
Well, you do everything right on that hanging breaking ball. Sometimes you just get out in front of it a little too quickly.
He lost him, and a leadoff walk. Jones is aboard. Just the second walk that Peralta has issued.
Just one of those teams, Rich, that we just don't see a lot. They have spring training in Arizona. Play them just a couple of times a year, and as we mentioned, the next time the Marlins see the Brewers is in September. But it's a team that when you see them up close and personal, they've got some nice personnel. Everyday players, bullpen, starting rotation.
Saltalamacchia pulled one over the head of Lau Overbay down right field line. Was back in the second. Casey McGee was at first base, and he scored all the way from first. Ball stuck in the corner when Ryan Braun went to retrieve it. Ball and 2 strikes. Turner 6 innings, 7 hits, a walk and 2 strikeouts.
Boy, good job by Lucroy.
Jones dancing from first.
Well, he actually was trying to time Peralta. He had him timed pretty well, but somebody in the infield, I think it was Jeanette, second baseman, yelled step off.
Bouncer, Segura, out there, and the Brewers get a double play. 2 outs here in the 6th. If your child has a birthday coming up, the Marlins Sea Creatures would love to celebrate with them in a birthday bash kind of way. Private field level party area. Your child will be the honorary starter for the Great Sea Race. Enjoy a visit from the Creatures, an inclusive food package, and much more. Book your party now. Go to marlins.com/groups. There's no sushi. Zuna takes a strike. He's 0 for 2. He's bounced out, flied out. Just 1 run. Combined, there have been 13 hits in the game. The Brewers have come close to scoring on a couple of occasions. Remember the liner that Lucroy hit with a couple runners on to end the 3rd. And then that last play in which Carlos Gomez was thrown out at 3rd just before Ryan Braun stepped on the plate. That was the final out of the inning. And Ozuna swings and misses at a ball in the dirt. And the Marlins come up empty in the 6th as well. With MLB.com at bat, iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10 or Windows Phone 8. Scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Marlins.com for details.
By the way, Rich, this is going to be an inning where they'll keep a real close eye on Jacob Turner, who's taken this game to the 7th inning, hasn't allowed a run, but gave up the 3 hits to the Brewers last inning. So they started to have a little better swings last inning.
Scooter Jeanette. And Turner misses away. Jacob Turner, 6 innings, 7 hits, no runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts. Jeanette has struck out, flied out. And if Turner gets through this 7th, Tommy, that gives Mike Redmond the option to turn to the A team, so to speak. Bring in a Ramos or a Dunn, whoever fits better, or maybe even both in that 8th inning. Trying to get to Cishek. Turner over, and he steps on the bag, and Jeanette is out number 1.
And a good start. There's part of that bullpen with Mike Dunn getting ready.
Chris Davis, Lyle Overbay coming up.
One of the keys, there have been many for Turner today, just the one walk. He's thrown some first pitch strikes. He's kept the strikes early in the count, the outer part of the plate.
Chris Davis takes a strike and it's 0-1. Last night we were talking about Davis in the end of last year when he got up to the big leagues. In 56 games, had 13 homers. He's not a real big guy. He's 5'11", 188. Tyler Thornburg. Peralta is 2 hitters away. That one's hit well down the left field line. Yelich won't get it. Into the corner. Plays it off the wall, and Chris Davis has got a double.
Stayed with this breaking ball pretty well. Kind of flattened out. The bite didn't take it away and on the outer part of the plate, so Chris Davis was able to jump on it. They got Overbay, then you'll have a pitcher spot coming up, and a pinch hitter will be waiting.
Well, Turner trying to hang on to this lead. Now Mike Redmond pops out. Dunn is in the bullpen. And Redmond is going to go get him. So Turner, a terrific outing, cut short here in the 7th. And on his way out, a 1-0 lead. Mike Dunn trying to bounce back from this. This was against the Phillies, and this was Marlon Byrd. Dunn thought it was an out. You can see him walking to the dugout. But Byrd puts it up in the bushes, which is a long, long way. It tied the game at 3. Miami would walk off in the 9th on a Christian Yelich base hit.
Well, that was a rough outing for Mike Dunn. 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits, and the big blast that home run by Marlon Byrd. Overbay was on deck. Remember, the pitcher is up next, but it's not going to be Lyle Overbay, the left-handed hitter. It's going to be the right-handed hitting Ricky Weeks.
And Weeks has done a nice job as a pinch hitter this year, and as a regular hitter when he's been able to get a start. 63 at bats for Weeks. He's hitting .317 with an on base of .377. He's slugging .460. And you see those are his season numbers. 6 for 19 with an RBI as a pinch hitter. Davis is at second, and Dunn into the ball game. And throws a strike to Weeks. So Weeks' numbers, Tommy, improved from his last couple of seasons, and it's obviously a small sample size, 63 at bats. But his average withered down to 209 last year after hitting a 230 in 2012, though he did have 21 homers 2 seasons ago.
Keep in mind, too, in this situation, Davis has pretty good speed. He's the runner at second. They're the year-by-years for Ricky Weeks. Out of Southern University. He was a Golden Spikes winner.
It's the baseball equivalent of the Heisman Trophy.
And I don't care aluminum bats or wooden bats. He hit .495 and .479 his last 2 years of college.
Strikes him out. Weeks goes down swinging. And the Brewers are going to send up another pinch hitter after Weeks.
Boy, some really good pitches. Got ahead, and then slider, inner part. Perfect pitch. Well, after Ricky Weeks, now it's going to be Elian Herrera. Herrera's a switch hitter. And he can stay in the game. Now there are a few moves that Renicky can make. He can stay and go to third. Reynolds will probably go over to first with Overbay out of the game.
Done with that sharp slider to the right-handed hitters. Carter Capps in Miami's bullpen. In the dirt, look, it's kicked. And Saltalamacchia spins around Brian O'Nora. Davis moves up 90 feet.
That'll be ruled a wild pitch. And it was. The reason it didn't go all the way back to the backstop is that it hit the leg of the home plate umpire, Brian O'Nora.
One pitch to Herrera. And that is a foul tip. With Davis steaming down the line. He wasn't sure if it was tipped or not. So a little more pressure on Saltalamacchia here in a 1-0 game in the 7th.
so far with Mike Dunn coming in, he's throwing strikes, but it looks like he has a good slider too.
1-2 pitch coming. Just missed. And it was in.
It's where he wanted to miss, though. He was hoping Herrera would swing at that pitch.
Two. It stays at 2-2. Big moment here in Miami. Two coming. Got him! Fastball! Mike Dunn! Dynamite out of the bullpen. Strikes out Weeks. Strikes out Herrera. And down go the Brewers in the seventh inning stretch. And a 1-0 Miami lead. Miami, the Marlins hanging on to this lead over the Brewers. You got Elliot Herrera at third base. Adjust your scorebooks appropriately. Remember, he came in the ballgame as a pinch hitter. Lyle Overbay left for Weeks, and so Reynolds is at first base. And you can pick up a Pepsi 4 for $50 4-pack on a family Sunday, which is tomorrow. Marlins and the Brewers at 1:10. First 5,000 kids a pair of Giancarlo Stanton batting gloves, courtesy of Fox Sports Florida, and all kids run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. Marlins.com, the place to go for tickets. You saw the defensive changes.
Well, as expected, Reynolds moved over to first base. Remember, Overbay was pinch hit for. Herrera stayed in the game at third, and there's Tyler Thornburg, big right-hander on the mound for the Brewers.
Echeverria dumps one into right field. That's got to feel good for Etch, who's been scuffling at the plate. Leadoff hit, and it's going to bring Jeff Baker to the plate.
I'll tell you exactly why it feels even better. He's been trying to stay back and go that way all day. A couple of ground balls to second base. This time he elevated a little bit and got himself a base hit. So you hang in there, you stay with the plan, and good things usually happen.
Now you got an interesting spot at the plate. Baker's not necessarily a bunter, but he certainly can handle the bat. You've got speed at first with Echeverria.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect Baker to be bunting here.
But you might see Echeverria on the move. Baker got off to such a slow start. He was hitless for almost a 3-week period in April. He's hitting .405 over his last 14 games. 15 of 37. Some pinch hit appearances, some starts. And he always, as you pointed out, has hit Milwaukee well.
Yeah, he has. He had pinch hit last night.
374 average, highest against any opponent for him personally. Thornburg. Gets a strike and it's 1-1.
Thornburg has that over-the-top delivery. Curveballs and changeups to go along with that fastball.
Thornburg had a 3 2/3 innings relief appearance Tuesday in Atlanta, longest of the season by a Brewer bullpen guy. Echeverria running, and the throw's going to be late, and he's in there. Second stolen base for Echeverria.
Not sure if it was a straight steal or maybe hit and run. No, it's a straight steal. That's really never looks over his shoulder at the plate. Pitch was fouled off by Baker. A throw on the other side of the bag could be a different story.
1-2. Breaking ball misses out. Two. Baker fouls it off. Thornburg throws hard, 96 miles an hour. Out of Charleston Southern University, pitching in the Big South. Riverwood, Georgia. Riverwood High School.
Big week. College baseball, all the conference tournaments going on.
Baker in a center field base hit. Echeverria around third. Headed home. He will score. Jeff Baker with a pinch hit RBI single.
I know you like to say this, Rich. Stay hot, Jeff Baker. And he has been. 2-strike base hit driving in Echeverria. Got that breaking ball, that over-the-top curveball, and hammered it against a team he's gotten a lot of base hits against.
He's at first. Here's Yelich. Yelich doubled in the third. So a 2-0 lead for Miami. Now the count 2-1. Of course, it's the bottom of the 7th. Marlins have 6 outs to get. Ramos getting ready.
And he will have the top of the order.
Segura, Braun, and Lucroy. Three and one. Yelich got a break. We'll count 3-2.
I would expect Baker to be on the move. And I think sometimes that's good for a young hitter in Yelich's case. I'm sure he keeps his eye right there, makes some contact, because he knows if he strikes out, the Brewers could get a double play.
He's running. Pitches up, and Yelich walks.
Have to worry about it. It wasn't even close.
And so Dietrich comes up. A run is across. Nobody throwing right now in Milwaukee's bullpen. And Rick Kranitz, our old friend, is on his way out to the mound. Kranitz, a pitching coach for the Marlins for 2 different skippers, Joe Girardi and Freddie Gonzalez. He's trying to calm Thornburg down. Willie Peralta sure looked good in this ball game. 6 innings. You can see why he has one of the top ERAs in the National League.
Yeah, Rick Kranitz has to feel pretty good about Peralta's performance. It looked like he certainly had a message that he was trying to relay to Thornburg, though, too.
Now Dietrich. 1 for 3. And you got Stanton on deck. Left unsaid is the fact that Giancarlo Stanton is standing in the on deck circle.
Well, and that's why you have Dietrich swing. I mean, people may be saying, how come he's not bunting? You don't want the double play, though.
And that's all they're going to get.
All right.
With just 1 out, Yelich is out. Dietrich survives at first. Baker is down at third. Time for the Geico quote. Bring on the Gecko. Hello, hello. Ron Reddick, my gosh, there were some long home runs by both sides. Those balls were crushed. There were a lot of fireworks going on. 7 home runs hit last night. 2 by this man. 463 and 444 feet for Stanton.
And with the Marlins hitting 4 last night, the home run sculpture got to work out.
Tell you what, this is in watching the Brewers pitch to Stanton today, teams have shifted Stanton to pull but pitched him on the outside part. The Brewers have come in.
They've pounded him in, yeah, all day. Big curveball to hit.
Zach Duke in the bullpen.
He threw about 2 innings last night in the bullpen. We saw him warming up 2 or 3 times.
Baker and Dietrich at the corners. 1-1 to Stanton. It's down. Pitchers duel most of the way. Willie Peralta, 6 innings, a run. Jacob Turner, 6 1/3, no runs. Brewers had a run erased, so to speak, when Gomez was thrown out at third while Braun was trotting home on a hit to left. 2-1 pitch and a swing and a miss by Stanton.
Stanton just hasn't had real good swings today. But he's got one left.
He struck out twice and he's walked. Jeff Baker, pinch hit RBI single here in the 7th. And he got him. Boy, Stanton strikes out again. 3 strikeout game for Stanton. Thornburg now has 2 outs and Casey McKee to deal with.
Today it looks like Stanton has got away from a little bit driving the ball the other way, the way we've seen him, and thinking about RBIs with just a base hit as opposed to the home run.
I think maybe having hit what 900 feet worth of home run last night,
that has something to do with it, and I think the way the Brewers have pitched him has something to do with it.
Now McGee still at the corners. If he gets a good jump, would you think about starting Dietrich?
Absolutely.
Baker's the runner at third. McGee pulls it foul. Counts 0-2. Ramos is ready in Miami's bullpen. Marlins a 2-0 lead, trying to even the series. McGee a 2 for 3 day. Echeverria opened the inning with a single, swiped second, scored on the Baker pinch hit. Dietrich runs, is fouled back to the screen.
And with 2 strikes and with 2 out, neither middle infielder moved. So they're giving Dietrich the bag. They don't want to open up a hole for Casey McGee.
Having seen that on 0-2, you would probably want to run again.
You would go again, yeah.
Not running. McGee on the ground. Herrera just into the game, throws him out. Miami will have to settle for a run. They lead 2. 6 outs to get. Jeff Baker delivers run number 2. On to the 8th. 2-0. Miami. Cannonball. in the 8th. Game summary.
Well, in the second inning, the Marlins struck first on this double off the bat of Jared Salto-Lamacchia. Casey McGee coming in to score all the way from first. Very interesting play in the 6th inning. It looked like the Brewers were going to tie it. Lucroy with a base hit. The throw by Yelich to try to get Gomez going first to third. He got him, and he got the final out of the inning before Braun scored. So that run did not count. The Marlins were able to add on in the 7th. Pinch hit single by Jeff Baker after Echeverria had singled and stolen a base. And just like that, it's a 2-0 ball game, and it's turned over to A.J. Ramos here in the 8th.
And Ramos gets the top of the order for the Brewers. Right out of the chute, Gene Segura, Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy. And if anybody reaches, Carlos Gomez. So not an easy inning or a soft landing. A line drive over Dietrich's head. In the gap, Stanton cuts it off. And Segura, a hit machine last year, has 2 hits in this ball game. Had 2 hits last night in the opener.
Yeah, 173 base hits last year from Gene Segura.
Here is Braun. Braun on the disabled list this year. That right rib cage area giving him trouble, and his bat really hasn't come back since coming off the DL. This is game number 10 since he's off the DL, and he is 8 for 36. High fly ball, shallow right towards the line. It's Dietrich who makes it. Oh, he drops it. It's a fair ball. The throw to second is in time.
Wow. Derek Dietrich just got a nice reprieve.
And that's what clean living will do for you, apparently. Although that might be a ball, if they could do it over, that maybe Giancarlo would go after.
Yeah, it's a long way for Dietrich to go. It was a fair ball, but he alertly said, okay, runner's not going to be going. He thinks I'm going to catch this ball. So I'll pick it up and fire it to Echeverria, a one hopper. So it's a fielder's choice, 4-6. Not of your normal variety.
No. That's a big play.
Then again, with the way the Marlins have defended and gotten their outfielders squinched into the gaps.
That one goes to the screen, and Braun goes to second.
Especially Giancarlo, which we've seen him playing a lot into right center. That's a long way for him to go, too.
That's a great point, and that's what you give up to gain some ground in the gap and cut off some balls in the gap. You give up the ball that goes by the first baseman or a pop-up.
And as a second baseman and first baseman, you really have to be aware of that.
Now Braun is at second, and Lucroy is at the plate. To right, it's well hit. Stanton goes back, and it's going to be over his head, off the wall. Nice job by Ozuna backing up, and it's a one-run ball game. Lucroy.
Boy, another double. 18 doubles now for Jonathan Lucroy. And more problems for the Marlins bullpen after a terrific job last inning from Mike Dunn. Getting out of the inning, getting a couple of strikeouts. Struggles here for A.J. Ramos. He's given up 2 hits and a run already.
And he's still got a couple of dangerous bats to deal with. Cishek in the pen. Gomez has doubled and singled. Chuck Hernandez is on his way out. Now Cishek is warming up with the gusto that you would think Mike Redmond's thinking about bringing him in right now in the 8th inning.
It's always a thought, especially in Mike Redmond's mind, because of the way the season has gone, with the way the wins have gone. Cishek has not been overworked or overused. But right now, the Marlins are still trying to build that bridge to Steve Cishek. It's under construction, but they're having trouble finding the parts.
And that bridge has had a few mishaps along the way. Gomez now, 2 hits. He takes outside. Four doubles for Gomez in this series. 6 hits total. 6 for 8. Ramos has fallen behind 2-0. Cishek is ready. And if Ramos loses Gomez, you get a sense Cishek would come in and face Reynolds.
Yes.
Gomez back leg that fastball, and it's 2-1. Jonathan Lucroy, an RBI double. Boy, is that play at the plate looming large right now, where the Brewers didn't get the run. Gomez nearly tore himself in 2.
See, there are a lot of pitchers around the National League that is just going to gripe them the way he swings, and they're going to move him around in the box. I don't know when that's going to be, but there are a lot of pitchers in the league that do that.
Can't do it now. It's the 8th inning.
No, he can't.
Counts 2-2.
But when you see a guy swinging that hard,
fouls a pitch back.
and you can say he's exciting and hey, that's the way he swings, but you know what? You can't always be that aggressive at the plate. You have to be kept honest.
One-run game. Ramos to Gomez. Swing and a miss. Saltalamacchia fumbles it. And Jones drops it. And down the line it goes. Disaster strikes. Wow. And the Brewers have runners at second and third and one out.
And another thing on that play, there was plenty of time for both Saltalamacchia and Jones, because watch Carlos Gomez. He just trots. He figures he's out by a long shot. Throw wasn't a good one. Certainly was catchable. Everybody's safe, and all of a sudden second and third. Wow.
And so now Ramos faces Mark Reynolds. The error goes to Saltalamacchia. On a day where a lot of the big plays have swung Miami's way, that one goes Milwaukee's way. Reynolds against Ramos, infield back, breaking ball, strike one.
Boy, that was just plain sloppy.
Strike two. Well, you got a guy who is one of the most prolific strikeout men in the game. But you also have a guy that can hit it 400 feet if you make a mistake. The Marlins infield is back. They will give up the tying run for a shot at the second out. Ramos ready. Popped him up on the infield. Jones, Echeverria calls. Echeverria catches.
Good choice. Well, what a big out. And a good job by Echeverria to take charge right by the mound.
Now a decision to make if you're Mike Redmond. Do you want Ramos to face Jeanette, or do you want Cishek?
I think he's going to have Cishek, because here he comes.
And so Cishek, it looks like a double switch. Redmond will stop at home plate. Ed Lucas The human double switch is
the beauty of having Ed Lucas. You can put him anywhere.
Dietrich comes out, Lucas comes in, Cishek comes in with the game on the line, and 2 outs in the 8th. Second and third with 2 outs. The FL fan photo, hashtag FL fan photo, and it's the AT&T photo of the game. Fernando snapped this one. Sebastian the Ibis here today. And Lucas at second base. So Lucas comes into the ball game, and he'll be in the pitcher spot.
Well, this ensures of being able to work Steve Cishek more than just this third of an inning, because he'll bat in Dietrich's spot. So Lucas may get up next inning. So that's why you make the double switch here. And Cishek's going to be called on to try to get that 4-out save.
And he'll have to do it with runners at second and third, at least get the first of the 4 outs, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Cishek to Jeanette. Backdoor breaking ball, strike.
And this is truly a save situation, because even if the Brewers were to get 1 run and tie it, then it's a blown save.
Lucroy at third. Gomez at second. Cishek out in front, 0-2.
Out in front with 2 sliders.
Oh, 2 coming. Jeanette just got a piece of it. Bangs it foul. Cishek appearing against the Phillies on the 22nd.
Cishek, Rich, had a 4-out save back on May 1st in the Marlins' 5-4 win against the Braves.
Got him! Swing and a miss! Boy, do the Marlins dodge one here. Cishek gets the final out of the 8th. 2-1. to manage in the big leagues, because Mike Redmond, what he's gone through in the last 20 minutes, it's a 2-1 Miami lead going into the bottom of the 8th inning. Marlins look for another insurance run, trying to hang on and beat the Brewers and even this series. Zach Duke into the ball game.
Well, 31-year-old veteran. How many times did the Marlins match up against the Pirates? And you'd see Zach Duke and Paul Maholm usually in the series. Zach Duke now working out of the bullpen. Last year he spent time with both the Nationals and the Reds. He's never been an overpowering type left-hander. He'll feature all 4 pitches. But good part of his career, most of his career, with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Ron Renicky has brought him in to face Garrett Jones, Jared Saltalamacchia, and then Marcell Ozuna. Duke with a sweeping breaking ball for a strike. Just under 26,000 at the ballpark on this Cuban Heritage Day.
And they have been entertained, that's for sure.
Jones on a couple of hops out to Jeanette. Zach Duke has the first out at the bottom of the 8th inning. Saltalamacchia flips around. One of the big differences with this ballpark as opposed to Miller Park, especially with a 4 o'clock start time, is as the sun sets out in the west, there aren't a lot of windows for the sunlight to get in and splash on the field. The windows are all pointing towards the ocean. In Milwaukee, the giant side of windows can cause a lot of problems for afternoon games and early evening games.
Really cast some awful shadows down on the field.
Saltalamacchia swings and misses. Duke looks sharp. And here comes Ozuna.
And make it difficult for left fielders.
Steve Cishek, remember we talked to him after he got a 4-out save 2-3 weeks ago, and he said he wasn't sure what to do in the dugout in between innings, because he got that last out just like he did here and came charging off the field full of adrenaline, only to stand around for.
Well, see, he's standing around. He doesn't want to sit down. He wants to keep that adrenaline going.
Breaking ball strike. 1-1 to Ozuna. Game's wrapping up. Atlanta still trailing at home 3-0 to Colorado, bottom of the 8th. Mets are down 3-2 to Arizona, bottom of the 8th.
Tampa Bay has come back to tie that game against the Red Sox, too. And the Red Sox had an early lead. It's a 5-5 game in the 8th inning.
Echeverria on deck. Ozuna got a 3-2 pitch here. And Duke gets it. A little sidearm fastball. Steve Cishek, part 2, needs 3 more outs.
A 4-out save here for the Fish, trying to hold on, leading 2-1. Stay with us after the game. Marlins Live postgame presented by Checkers. Preston Wilson joins me for the series. He'll be here on the postgame show. We'll get his analysis. We'll look at Jacob Turner, very steady. Preston told you he liked him in the pregame. We'll get his thoughts, and we'll have highlights. Look at a lot of the key plays in this game. A lot of scoring chances. Both teams had chances. One denied on a crazy play. We'll look at all that coming up on the postgame show in just a bit. Rich and Tommy, back to you.
All right, thank you, Craig. Chris Davis opens the inning for the Brewers. The pitcher spot is up next. And then Elian Herrera scheduled for Milwaukee.
Looks like the lefty Logan Schaefer is in the on-deck circle.
Davis takes outside from Cishek, who didn't sit down in between innings. Ball and a strike. For a low-scoring game, it's 2-1. There have been, as Craig described, some big plays in this and some wild plays.
Talk about 2 completely different games, too. Last night's game with the 7 home runs hit combined.
One-two. Breaking ball, diving stop. McGee on his feet. Got him.
That gets his old team, Casey McGee, a couple of hits today and just a dazzling play there. He's over on the line a little bit. He has to go a ways, lays out, and then gets Davis by a couple. Great job.
So 1 out here in the 9th. And here is Schaefer. He got the start last night, went 1 for 4. Played right field. Ryan Braun has been in right field in this ball game. First pitch, breaking ball, strike 1.
Steve Cishek is really sharp. His backdoor slider's working. Remember, he got the final out last inning. He struck out Jeanette on a fastball.
10 save opportunities, 9 saves. Fouled at the plate, but of course the one opportunity he did not save was at New York on April 25th. It snapped a streak of 33 consecutive saves. Schaefer just got a piece. Oh, 2, 1 out, 9th inning. Got him! Fastball! Elevated. And Schaefer goes down.
Both the strikeouts have been with the fastball up, and what Cishek does so well, he gets the eye level of hitters looking down with the sliders and with those 2 seamers, and then all of a sudden he goes up, and it's tantalizing for a hitter, but a tough pitch to hit.
Again, the backdoor breaking ball
Every
to the lefty.
time. Yeah.
Herrera came into the ball game and struck out in the 7th. Stayed in. Has been at third base for the last 2 innings. And tripled up on the slider, and it's 1-2.
Trying to save this game for Jacob Turner, who's been looking for a win for quite some time, and he certainly deserved it the way he pitched today.
A strike away, an out away. 1-2 on the ground. Echeverria in the hole, and Herrera will beat it. And the Brewers have life. And all of a sudden, you get into some real dangerous hitters. Segura, Braun, Lucroy.
Well, Herrera utilizes his speed, just slapping that ball on the ground. No chance for Echeverria, even though he gave it a shot.
Segura, 2 hits in this ball game. Use a first pitch breaking ball to get a strike on a right-handed hitter. 0-1. Cishek getting the last out of the 8th. Striking out Scooter Gennett. Here in the 9th, he got the first 2 outs. Herrera aboard at first on an infield hit. Foul tip. 0-2. 26,000 coming to their feet again. Cishek ready. 0-2 coming. Got him! Ball game! Cishek saves it. Jacob Turner wins it. His first win since early July of last year. And Miami pulls it out 2-1. In a ball game that had some bizarre and some big plays.
He was on his game ever since he came in to get that out in the 8th inning. Nasty slider. Once he got ahead, he knew, I don't have to throw a pitch near the plate. Segura will swing at it.
So Miami wins it. 2 runs on 8 hits. An error. They left Milwaukee a run on 11 hits. This series is tied at a game apiece. in front of almost 26,000 on Cuban Heritage Day. 2-1 the final will go down on the field when we return.